Well, good evening, Lions fans, and welcome to the second Coach Caleb Ross show here on Dixie Country 100.1 FM, also coming to you live on Prattville Alive YouTube. Fans, if you're listening, I want to encourage you to come on down to visit us in Prattville at Los Mayas Restaurant. There's plenty of room for you now, but it won't last long, so get down here and come visit with us here at the restaurant as we celebrate a victory week one. Coach Caleb Ross, let me welcome you in. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Man, I'm doing great. Congratulations on a week win W. Let's go straight to it, man. What do you think? Let's recap a little bit of last week's games, maybe some highlights, and then we'll talk about some takeaways from it.
Yeah, sure. First thing, man, what a night. There was a huge crowd. The atmosphere was great. I mean, for a first night high school football, just in general in the state of Alabama, what a great night. And,
it was.
Man, what I was proud of, the community came out and supported our kids, man. I'd been hearing there'd be a lot of people there. The crowd, man, the stadium was packed. The energy was exciting. It was electric. It's what you wanted in an opening game. It's what you wanted for your kids to play in. And I couldn't be more pleased, from what the environment was for that night. And you wished every Friday night would be that way.
Yeah.
And hopefully it is. But, realistic, maybe it's not. But for the first game, what an electric atmosphere.
No doubt. I was so proud of my community, man. Prattville showed up, and they showed up big to support you. But honestly, those young men, that's who they came to see.
I ain't playing it down. Those days are gone of me playing. They don't want to see that. But no, yeah, they come out and supported those boys. And this is what I always thought Prattville, man, this is what I knew Prattville was. This is what it was. Even when I was in high school and we were not great, but we were still good, man, there would be a lot of people out Friday nights then. And especially when we were winning the championships, man, the stands were packed every Friday night.
Yeah.
And, man, it kind of brought you back to what it used to be, with a lot of folks out. And from what I've understood, just, the attendance had been down the last couple of years, and man, you got it back, and man, that was exciting, man. Like you said, that's what I thought Prattville would be and should be.
Yeah, a lot of buzz around the game, and it was a lot of fun. When we kicked off the opening series, there was a couple of penalties. I think a mishandled snap that caused another loss. And that first series, I thought, we're going to take a breath and we'll be all right. We'll punt the ball away here in a minute and be okay. And then, doggone, if trade it and just lay one over the top and grab hold of Mr. Momentum, and there she went.
Oh, yeah, it's not the way you want to start a game. I think the first we had a false start, and then we fumbled the exchange on a running back mesh. Yeah, our kids, and the message I've told them this week is, look, your meet the line scrimmage is over, your first game in front of a packed crowd. We got to go play ball, and we can't start like that. Now, fortunately, we're like in 3rd and 22, and we hit the deep long ball to Taylor, man, there. And, man, I thought he was going to score. We stiff-armed the guy and got separation and lost his balance a little bit. But, man, what a play by both guys there. Trey almost got flushed out of the pocket, had enough, I guess, savvy about him to step up, make the long throw.
Yeah.
And then we hit the screen to Jaden there to get in the end zone. And so what went from, man, this is not a way you want to start to, we're playing this the whole time.
I was pretty sure it was just the way you drew it up.
That's exactly how it is. So you want to be in 3rd and 22.
Yeah. Your defense takes the field immediately following that. And, buddy, they looked good on 1st down, 2nd down, and then they had a hard time getting off the field on 3rd down. They had several opportunities. I know we made adjustments after that first series, but speak to the defense early on and maybe some of the jitters and where they were at.
That first series, man, it's really like two things were really just, I'd call them, you got two things that happen because you're really just playing hard. Like one, we're Brandon Butts, who I thought was pretty good coverage, got a little physical with their DB, which is what you're supposed to do, and goes out of bounds. I get it. I could see it not being called, but I could see where I guess the ref thought we was holding him there. So they called that on a 3rd down. And then they run a reverse. And we just flat out, it's not because we're not there. We had too many guys there and overrun it, and he hit a cutback, and he gets the 1st down. Yeah. So it was great effort by our guys, great energy, and that's what, led to those two 3rd down conversions. But once we finally settled down, and I think it was like a 13, 14-play drive, we settled down, forced them the field goal, and that's when Brandon made his magic and blocked the kick there.
So. Yeah. We'll talk a little about that play. I mean, I guess he got the block and he scooped it. He kind of scooped it twice, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, when he blocked it, and I think he's on the edge, it's like, well, if he can get his hands on it, he's going to score. Ain't nobody going to run with Brandon Butts in this stadium. And he kept fumbling around with it, and finally when he got it in his hands, even though there was a defender or two that kind of caught up with him by the end, I knew he's going to score. I mean, he turned the corner, and we were very fortunate there. We had a kid that was trying to play hard, but we tell him don't ever have to hit a kid behind the play. And he makes a legal block. He just does it 30 yards behind the play. It's not a very smart football play. And we got penalized. I'm very fortunate there that we got the touchdown. It probably should have came back and should have been a spot foul. But we got away with it there. We go up. And we hit the 2-point conversion on that first
yes,
touchdown.
I didn't bring that up. Tell us what.
Well, we do something. We feel like you can catch somebody off guard. We're going to get into a little bit of PAT, field goal. We always do some type of gate. And the idea is really two things. You want to hopefully steal a point, because if defense isn't ready, you can flip it out there like we did, and we score, and you go up 8-0. Or you go up, you get 8 points instead of 1. The other thing, too, is you do something a little bit different where you make the defense try to work. And so they got to prepare for something. So, we'll mix it up. We may bring that one back in a few weeks, and we may bring it back tomorrow night. You don't know. So we'll do it sometimes. Sometimes it don't. But it worked, and we're up 15-0.
Yeah, quick. And of course, that's what you want to see as a coach. But at the same time, you want to get that good start, but you don't ever want to let up. One of the biggest things I noticed throughout the night, and I mentioned to you after the game, is I love the way, as a coaching staff, you had a comfortable lead, but y'all never quit coaching hard. Never quit coaching hard.
I
Speak
had
to that.
come up to me, we're up 37-0. It's like, man, Coach, you're coaching a kid in the fourth quarter. And I said, guys, I don't coach for a scoreboard. That ain't us. We coach to a standard. And if I'm going to put time and invest into a kid, we want them to, we want to coach I'm coaching on Sundays. I'm coaching on Monday. That's who I am. That's what I do. That's what our coaches are. If we're just waiting for the scoreboard, then there's got to be some separation between what a coach is and what a fan is. And that's just who we are. It's who we are. To us, that's what I told the kids when we went at halftime. We're up 27-0, and I said, guys, in my mind, score 0-0. We play to a standard. We know what good football is. How the right technique, the right energy, and it doesn't matter what the score. Because I don't never want the score to affect them if we're up by 14 or if we're down by 14. Just go do your job, and the rest will take care of itself. And I know coaches say that, but, man, it's so true. That's why they say it, because it works. And it's been successful everywhere we've been, and we didn't come up with that. We didn't invent it. But, I know back when we were with Coach Clark the first time and other coaches, hey, we play to our standard. We don't play to a scoreboard.
That's right. Yeah, do your job. And we talked about that a little bit last week, too, wanting to impose your will, and I believe y'all did that Friday night. Looked good. Let's go back to a little bit more of the action. You grab the early lead. Had a couple of breaks go your way. Honestly, a couple of breaks, like you already touched on, didn't go our way. A couple of penalties, a couple of things. But I didn't see any letdown of the guys. I didn't see any frustration. I saw them keep going, playing hard. We come out in the second quarter. We had a big run by Malik Smith. Tell us about some of those drives.
Yeah, we got, first of all, I'll say, besides that first drive, the defense settled down and played lights out the rest of the night.
I was teasing with some of your D linemen. It looked like they were having a party in the backfield for Foley.
I would say 7 or 8 sacks maybe on the night, or at least hurries, and the quarterback was never comfortable, that's for sure. And we rotated a bunch of guys, man. We played 8 or 9 guys on the defensive line. I know after that long first drive, I told JB, because they were on the field 13, 14 plays. We got the block kick. Scored, so they go right back out. And I said, JB, if you need a timeout, sometime this drive, take it. These guys to get their legs back under us. But it worked out. I think we went 3 and out maybe next drive, or maybe they got one first down or something. So the game settled back down, and, man, it really turned in our favor. They had a couple special team miscues, snapped one over the head. Man, we got the cheap safety there. But those things really paid off. And, man, bottom line, we controlled the game really after those first 2 drives. They were never really in it after that.
Yeah.
You don't feel that way when you're coaching it. But looking back,
right.
we were comfortable at that point.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking of the defense, your D-line did a wonderful job, but there's a couple times where the QB had time, but there was nobody open because your secondary was swarming everywhere.
Yeah, man, you took like the game Brandon Butts had. Keyshawn Pickett, a guy that just come back for football his senior year, man, he started and had a really good game. You look at guys like Trey Thompson, Quan Jones, Ian Jackson, man, those guys back in the back end. I mean, they did a really good job. They did, and they're going to have to play well because I imagine with how good our box is, people are going to try to throw on us. And our secondary is going to step up to the challenge.
Yeah, there weren't a whole lot of running yards to be found for Foley the other night. That's for sure. They had a big boy. I believe it was 35. I don't know if he's a fullback, tight end, but he got loose once or twice at the most. But other than that.
That's right, and he was a thick kid now. And Foley, you knew he was going to play hard.
Yeah.
But, we had the advantage up front, and when you put a team in passing situations like we did, man, you're really on your heels there, and you can go after them. And we did a good job by Coach Wallace and our staff are coming after the quarterback there.
That's fantastic. Well, fans, we're going to step away for a break for just a moment. Thank you for joining us so far tonight. I will remind you we're at Los Mayas Restaurant in Prattville, Alabama. Would invite you to come on by if you're anywhere near. We'd love to have you right here. The food is fantastic. They spoiled us to death last week. I believe they're going to do it again. If you're listening to us on the radio, thanks for joining us from Dixie Country 100.1 or on Prattville Alive YouTube channel. Thanks for listening to the Coach Caleb Ross Show. We'll be right back. Glad you have joined us for this evening's show. If you're anywhere near, I'd invite you to come on out to Los Mayas Restaurant. The food is fantastic, but I would say the people around us are even better. We got several Lion fans out, some of the coaching staff, some of the players, and there's sure to be more as we move on throughout the show. Well, Coach Caleb Ross, welcome back for this segment. Glad to have you with us still. Let's go back to the game this week. Maybe some other takeaways. We talked in the first segment a lot about the defense. What did you see offensively that pleased you last week?
Well, as far as pleasing, we did some good stuff. Now, I'll say it wasn't our best night offensively. It wasn't. But now we had some highlights. You talked about a couple runs. And really on those runs to Malik, they're actually considered passes because it's a quick toss right there in front. It's good because if we ever drop it, it's an incomplete pass. So it's not considered a fumble. And it also boosts the quarterback stats, so they love that play. You know what I mean? So it's a quick toss. Guy runs it for 21 yards. It's 1 for 121. So, I didn't think we played our best offensively, but there were some highlights. You talk about first. I thought both our quarterbacks, did well. Man, Trey started out, had some good plays, and Kyle come in first play. First play, we throw the post down the middle of the field, and he hits it for Jalen for a big one. And we're in a good situation where we have two quarterbacks that can play. they both provide a different skill set. But you know what? Both of them, I've said, Trey's got good wheels, but he can throw the ball well. Kyle's got a good arm, but he'll surprise you with his running. He had the rushing touchdown the other night. Pulled the ball and he looked like he was moving pretty good as he got around the edge and got in the corner of the end zone there.
That's a big boy. I wouldn't want to have to try to get in front of him and stop him.
There ain't no doubt. So when I think he got hit like on the 3, and he just dragged the other 2 guys in the end zone to the pylon. So both of them played well, and man, we're in a good situation right there. And they both run our offense. Now we obviously cater to each other's skill set on both of them, but we're very fortunate there. Both of them have room for improvement. I know early a couple of balls that Trey threw were just off on a couple. Like we missed a first down throw to Taylor in the second quarter there, and we missed a read, a little bit. And I know Kyle overthrew a comeback route down there right before either second quarter or third quarter. I can't remember, but anyway, look at that. I thought our running backs, we played a bunch, played 4 guys the other night, and that's kind of who we are right now. Till one of them really steps up and separates himself. I thought probably the highlight, was Jakarian Willis came in third, fourth quarter. Man, had some nice runs.
Yeah, he did.
He's got a little wiggle about him, and we'll continue to see what he can do in that role. And up front, we don't have the biggest guys up front, but we got guys that'll fight you now. And I've kind of preached to them that, look, we're going to go with our tempo and the way we play. We're going to wear folks down, and it kind of proved that way because late in the third, early fourth quarter, we were able to finally start running the football. We're wearing that front down, and we can start running the football. So, there's a lot of positives. There's some things, like I said, we were just a little off on everything. And you talk about a couple of the false starts and missing just a few throws and the timing of stuff. And to be honest, I think our guys had a little bit of jitters about them, man. That first couple of drives, and you got to get them to calm down and handle the moment. But
well, as you and I talk about that crowd that showed up and how good they were, I think you and I look at that and say, "Oh, wow, what a crowd!" I think those kids might look at it like, "Oh my goodness, look at that crowd."
Oh yeah, so, we've been in those. Man, personally coached in when you coach in state championship games and in NFL stadiums, all the stuff that we've been blessed to do. You're okay. You're used to it. But, you're right. You got to remember, these are 17-year-old kids. And, man, that first game had been talked about and hyped up, and people talking about coming to the game. So we take that in consideration. It's our job as coaches to try to eliminate as much of that as possible to make it be just a real game where they can just go out and play and enjoy. But, sometimes that's a challenge.
Yeah. Any more on offense? I think you covered it pretty well.
Yeah, I did. I thought of receivers, man. We couldn't get them at times. We couldn't get them the ball like we wanted to, but I thought they did good stuff. Man, we're going to be a good offense for this. Very soon, some more point in the year. We're still a work in progress there. You look at it now. We got, if you take away besides Chris Stathopoulos, he's the only returning starter that played a whole lot last year. That 4 that played up there, and he's kind of the leader of that bunch now. He's the one that kind of can go play any position, and he keeps that group together. But the other 4 guys have not played. And so that's 4 new guys. You got Jalen McCary, who's, man, I thought had a big catch down the middle, had a nice comeback route. He hasn't played since he ain't even played football. I ain't talking about being on the team and not playing. He ain't even played football since his freshman year. So Malik's got a lot of experience. Taylor got to play a good bit last year, but he was still just sophomore last year. So now it's really his first year to be the guy. You know what I mean? So, man, you look at that point, and we still got a lot of new faces. So it's going to take some time, and we know that. But at some point now, I think we're going to be really good on offense.
No doubt. Well, as you say that, probably you came away with some things to work on. And as you transition out of the game into a big one this week, what are some of the things you see that you've really been looking at this week, improving, working on, trying to move?
That's right. I mean, first of all, it talks about, man, just handling the moment. Okay, we can't go and we got to eliminate the jitters. We got to eliminate the miscommunication, the false starts. Those things got to get better. Our timing on our throws. I thought we did. You look at 7-on-7, we were really good. And I even thought, like, in scrimmages and meet the lines, we made some completions. But the other night we seemed to be a little bit off on our timing on a few of the throws. We got to get those things a little better. Continue as a work in progress up front on the offensive line.
Sure.
And just, hey, keep chopping woods. Really kind of, we are a little undersized, but you know what? We got a lot of grit. We'll get after it, man. We're gonna stay up on our feet and keep pounding all night. Those things we got to keep improving on. Just taking advantage of opportunities. There's a couple of times when defense gave us really good opportunities, and we only came away with a field goal. Or, our red zone offense is one thing that, and I'll take responsibility. I'm an offensive guy, and I help call the plays and make the game plan and stuff. And I didn't know if our game plan was really, really good of red zone against Foley. And so, really making that a point this week of have a better plan when we go in to play Stanhope.
Sure. Now, we skipped one phase of the game inadvertently. I'll take the responsibility for that. We didn't talk about special teams.
That was kind of a highlight, too. Right?
Yeah.
We put a lot of time into it, and that's something that we try to do. I know everybody says they do, but we do. We put a lot. We work all summer on special teams. We do. We pick one special teams a day of the week, and that's what we focus on for 15, 20 minutes. So we work our fundamental stuff, and that stuff pays off. And you look, we had a big block kick. I thought we covered down besides one kickoff turn to open up the second half. I thought we covered down well on kickoff. I thought our snap and our punt's really good. And how about that, man? I'll tell you this, 2 weeks ago, I kept being told that, hey, Coach, Kyle Kramer can snap. And I'm like, man, I don't want a quarterback snapping. It just scares me to death or whatever. But then when I get back there and he is rifling it back there, and I'm like, man, this makes too much sense. So we put him back there, and all of a sudden now all the issues we had 3 weeks ago with our pride are really kind of gone. You know what I mean? Not that we won't, mess one up, but when the ball gets back there that fast and Tylen's got such a leg and got time to hit it, we're going to be okay. And I didn't think he had his best night, but I know, he's a weapon now. Tylen Piron's got a leg that's impressive.
He boomed a couple of them. He didn't get as well.
And
but
he hit a 35-yard field goal, and
Yeah.
I think the other one might have been 24 or something like that. So I was really pleased with special teams.
Yeah, I thought they played really well every phase. Coach, let's go another minute or two before we go to another break. We're coming out of last week. We won't talk about the opponent till the next segment, but focusing coming off of a game, moving to the next week. What other things are you getting to these guys?
Well, here's the biggest thing you worry. You know what I mean? You're excited, and you want our kids. You're one of those catch-22s right now where our program is. You want these kids to enjoy success. Man, they hadn't had a lot of success. I mean, they won a couple games last year, but man, you want them to. Hey, I want you to have that feeling every Friday and want that feeling, what it feels like to be a winner. But at the same time, man, you can't forget what got you here. We can't lose our hunger because here's the reality. And like I told them, I said probably all last weekend. What do people tell you? Great job. Awesome job, man. And I'm sure anybody might have thrown something out there, probably football's back or something like that. You know what people say. Great job, great job. And I said, here's what's going to happen when you go to school on Monday. When you go into the classroom, your teacher most likely is going to say, great job Friday night. And the kids say, it's human nature to relax.
Right.
It is. And just get complacent and not feel like you got to go work as hard. Because you feel like it's just 16, 17-year-old mind, so you really got to fight against that. I thought our kids, though, had a good week of practice.
Good.
Right now, we're still battling that August heat. You know what I mean? That still gets on their back.
It's a real thing.
But I think our kids finally got the message that, and granted, I don't know if Foley's got their best team, but, who knows how they're going to be this year. So, man, we know there was a great show and it was a good first night. Very pleased, but we still got a lot of work to do.
No doubt. A lot of excitement. Game one with a W, like you said. It was fantastic, great feeling, but, hey, it's time to start focusing on week two. I understand. Right. Well, listen, we're going to take a break. If you are anywhere near Los Mayas Restaurant in Prattville, we'd invite you to come on out and join us live right here. The fans are starting to grow. The Lion Nation is starting to arrive, so we want to invite you to be a part of that as well. If you're listening to us on the radio at Dixie Country 100.1, we want to thank you for being with us, and also those of you watching live on Prattville Alive YouTube channel. You're listening to the Coach Caleb Ross Show. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Hey, welcome back, Lion fans. Welcome back to the Coach Caleb Ross Show. I'm your host, Chris Britton. We're coming to you live from Los Mayas Restaurant in Prattville, Alabama, right next to Winn-Dixie. If you are anywhere near, we'd invite you to come join us. The crowd is kind of starting to pick up, so we'd love for you to be right here as well. We want to thank those of you listening to us on Dixie Country 100.1, and also those of you listening and watching live on the Prattville Alive YouTube channel. Well, I brought in a couple of new guests. I've got with me right now Mr. Kip Williams from Buffalo Rock. Kip, how you doing?
I'm great, Chris. Glad
Good.
to be here.
Yeah, man, glad to have you. And you have a special presentation. I believe we have the Pepsi Buffalo Rock Player of the Game presentation, and I'm going to let you take that over, man.
Okay. Well, we'd just like to congratulate Brandon on his efforts this past week and for a great game, and good luck on the rest of the season.
All right, Brandon Butts, the Player of the Week.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations, bud. Yeah. Kip, tell us just a little bit briefly about Buffalo Rock's role with the Prattville Lions and what you all do and the role you play.
Well, we're proud of our partnership with Prattville High School and with the Lions as well.
Yeah.
Over the years, just being a beverage provider for the school and for the team and supporting any way we can.
I hear you, man. Well, we thank you for bringing those blue cans around, no red ones, right?
That's right.
Well, Kip, thank you for doing that. Brandon, also, we want to get to know you a little bit better, listeners, but also in with that award, you got an MVP treatment from Sports Clips, and I was going to take this launch trampoline park card for myself, but I don't think I'd break a trampoline. So here you go, buddy. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Keep that mic up there, bud.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah, perfect. So, Brandon, tell us a little bit about the game. It was game one. You know, you're a senior. You've seen a lot of change over the last summer. Maybe speak to the off season just a little bit and some differences you've seen, and then we'll talk about the game specifically.
Okay, well, the change all started day one when Coach Ross came in. Day one he came in and just watched to see how everything was kind of ran and everything, and he was trying to see what everything is. And the next day he came in and he told us about how he liked the energy and everything, but we were going to have to step it up a little bit, and that we need to focus up. And from that moment, it's just been rolling on top of each other. We've been getting better and better. There's never been a really down part.
Yeah, that's great. I know one of the things y'all do a lot is there's a lot of competition, and you're usually one of the captains out there. Tell me about how that makes you feel that you were selected by coaching staff and I guess players as well to be one of the captain for some of those teams.
Well, I'm very honored to be chosen as a captain because, I enjoy leading and I enjoy being at the top and having my friends and comrades along with me. And now they hold me up to that high standard, and I like to make sure I stay up there.
I hear you. Now, fans, if you don't know Brandon, I don't have favorites on the team, but if I did, they'd all be at the top of the list, but he's one of them. He's the kind of kid I'd adopt him as my own, but I don't think I could afford to feed him probably. But a fantastic kid. Brandon, let's talk about the game just a little bit. Friday night, you started it off in a pretty decent way. We talked a little bit yesterday. What would you think was going on in that opening kickoff?
Well, I thought I took it back for a second. There's a crease, and I saw it, and I thought I took it back, but it closed a little bit too quick before I could get through there.
Yeah, there was a few thousand people in the stands that thought that too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was loud when I got up. I was like, I almost had it.
Yeah. What did you think about that crowd, by the way? I mean, coming out there and seeing that many people coming to see you guys throw and kick a ball around.
It was great because we busted through the sign and we looked up, and there were a bunch of people.
That made you feel good knowing your community came out?
Knowing that everybody was behind us.
That's awesome, man. Good. That's awesome. Now, you had another big play, block, scoop, and score. Tell us a little bit about that play. How'd that come together?
Well, Coach Wilson had told me during the week, because usually he calls Rocket whenever we do a field goal block. And I came up to him and I was like, Coach Wilson, if you want a block kick, you better call Laser so I can go. So
you're telling me you called the play? This kid's humble too, okay?
I told him if he wanted a block kick to send me. And so he called the call, and I came off the edge and I blocked it. And after I blocked it, my mind was going 50,000. I couldn't think. I was freaking out.
It looked like you're trying to grab a greased pig.
I was like, I really just blocked the kick. And so I thought I had it, and I thought I was running, and I kicked it out of bounds. But when I was running, I told myself to calm down, breathe a little bit.
There you go.
And then I picked it up, and then I had to take it to the house. I
There
wasn't
you
gonna,
go.
I wasn't gonna let anybody tackle me.
They didn't have a chance. I think there's smoke coming off the back of your cleats, man. You were
Yes,
getting
sir.
it.
Yes, sir.
That was good, man. Now, and that's not all you did. I mean, you played very solid defensively all night. I don't know if you had a whole lot of balls come your way. They didn't have a whole lot of time to throw, really. What do you think about the defensive effort as a whole for you guys?
Well, I feel like the defense is going to be pretty strong this year. It all starts with the D-line. Cause
Sure.
if that quarterback doesn't have any time to throw the ball, then it makes my job easy.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
with the D-line in their face, then they can't really do much. So it all starts with the big guys. And then the linebackers, they're pretty solid. We had a new guy come in, Zach Boyner. He had 15 tackles last week.
Wow,
so
yeah.
He's a
He looked like a machine out there.
he's a great, asset to the team. And then Jake Howard too. He comes in. He's more of him and Mason come. And they lay the wood to you now.
Yeah.
If you come tiptoeing, they definitely gonna wake you up a little bit.
Yeah.
So the linebackers help, and then of course back there with me, the defensive backfield, Keyshawn Pickett. He's pretty much the opposite of me. He's about 6'1", 6'2", and long and lanky. He got me at 5'6". So he's about the opposite of me.
Right.
And Quan and Trey Thompson, they're definitely Quan, Trey both played last year, so we've got some experience in the backfield. Defensive backfield.
It was a great team effort on defense. Talk a little bit about your new D coordinator, Coach Wallace, JB Wallace. How's that transition been, and maybe speak to your relationship with him or his relationship with the whole unit, maybe.
Well, Coach Wallace he's a good guy. He's a real nice guy to be around. He's real funny. He came in and made sure that he knew that he told me that if he was the offense coordinator, that every game they'd be coming at me because I was the smallest guy on the field. He told me that we'll try you until you made me stop. And I was like, yes, sir, I understand that. And so every practice we have to get 4 turnovers or else we have to run.
Uh-huh.
And
Do you like running, by the way?
No,
Okay,
no,
I didn't think so.
definitely do not like running.
Yeah.
So every time we go against the offense, it's always we're trying to get those 4 turnovers. And then that correlated to the game last Friday where we had 4 or 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
So that definitely correlates. And I like the way because he has a bunch of energy. He runs around. Yesterday, he got in on a tackle, hit somebody, and I was like, you don't have any pads on, but he brings a lot of energy to the team.
Maybe y'all could convince Coach Wallace if y'all get 4 turnovers in a game, he has to run in practice. I don't know. Wait, no, I didn't say that. No.
I don't know if you agree with that one. I don't know.
I remember I sat in on it was a special teams meeting actually during the summer that he was leading, and I walked away from that meeting and said I could play for that man. I like Coach Wallace. He's a fantastic guy.
Yes, sir.
All right, Brandon, I want to get to – we talked about football. You're more than just a football player. You're a pretty sharp kid, man. In fact, when I was first meeting you and getting to know you, I asked a coach, I said, what do you think about Brandon Butts? Tell me about that kid. And they said, I can give you one word, winner. The kid's a winner. It doesn't matter what you put in front of him. He's going to figure out how to win. If you put him on the baseball field, he's going to win. Put him on the football field, he's going to win. You put him in the classroom, he's going to win. So, I mean, high praise for you, buddy. And I agree with the gentleman that said that. Talk to us a little bit. I know your ACT score is looking pretty good. How'd you do on that so far?
Well, right now I have a 35 on my ACT.
Only a 35 out of a 36 max. Okay, poor you, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, yeah.
I'm going back in September to try and get to 36.
Are you really?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, wow. I was about half that. Yeah, all right. No, that's fantastic. And then how we do in the classroom, too? What kind of GPA are we carrying?
I have a 4.2 GPA right now.
It's supposed to be 4.0 max. How you doing that, man?
Well, you take the honors in the AP classes to get your GPA. They add a little bit to it. So since I did well with those classes, it bumped me up past the 4.0.
I hear you, man. I hear you. All right. Give us something fun about Brandon Butts that the general listener doesn't know. And I'm guessing that's your mama over here video, and she's worried about what you might say.
Yes,
Exercise wisdom here. Is it maybe a childhood nickname or something? Maybe we ought to bring her on.
Well, I mean, I've always been BB since since my baseball coach when I was about 9 years old. He started calling me BB, and it stuck.
All right, fantastic. Well, Brandon Butts, congratulations on the Player of the Week, man. Thanks for stopping by and visiting with us. You've been a joy to talk with today, man. You're a great kid, guys. If you have a chance, listeners, to meet this kid, you need to do that. Kip, thank you for what you and what Buffalo Rock do for the Prattville Lions program, for the football team, but also for the whole school. Anything you got for us?
Oh, just thank you for having us, and we, like I said, we value our partnership, and drink more Pepsi.
Drink more Pepsi. There you go. Well, guys, thanks for stopping by for this segment. Fans that are listening, we want to thank you for joining us, those of you who are listening on Dixie Country 100.1. Also, we have many joining us live on the Prattville Alive YouTube channel. We thank you for listening to the Coach Caleb Ross Show. We'll be right back with more in a few minutes. To Win Dixie. If you're anywhere near, we invite you to come by and join us. Come listen to the show and be a part of that, and then stay for karaoke, man. I'm telling you what, it's a great time in there, great food. Again, you are listening to the Coach Caleb Ross Show. Coach, we just finished up a segment with Brandon Butts. It's probably difficult to coach a kid like that. I'm being real sarcastic.
Yeah, a winner, a leader, smart, makes plays, real fast.
Yeah.
I mean, those kids, they're terrible. You don't want kids like that. So. No, man, Brandon's unbelievable. I'd heard about him when I got the job, got to meet him. He's been good as advertised, man. And he is his energy and his enthusiasm for the game is contagious, and that's what I love about him, man. And he's been in the big ball games. Obviously everybody knows, man, his AC, how smart he is, and just what an incredible human being. And man, I told him one day we was riding back from Montgomery Advertiser deal, and I said, hey, man, you've been blessed with a gift, man. God's blessed you with an incredible mind. go use that for good, go make a difference. And he said, Coach, I know. That's what I got to go do. So, man, he's just an incredible human being.
He's a special kid. I had a conversation with him over the summer. I said, man, I want you to spend time with my son. I want you to be a mentor-type person. He didn't shrink away from it. He said, yes, sir, I'd love to. That'd be great. I'd love to do it. Well, Coach, we talked about last week's ball game. There's another one coming up, a little bit of a rivalry. Playing Stanhope Elmore High School tomorrow night. Tell us a little bit about that rivalry. You have experience with it, obviously.
As a player, as a coach, I mean, it's it is always one of those. It's one of those games, man. It didn't matter what your record was.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. There's years when, we thought we might have had the better team, and there's years when they had the better team. But man, bottom line, it was going to be a battle. It always has been. First of all, it's a great environment. We got to go over there.
Yeah.
If you were just a fan, it's one of those games, man, you'd want to go watch it as a fan because it's such a great environment.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if it's played over there, played here. Man, and it's one of those, and you learn to, as you get older, you learn to respect everybody. But, man, when I was growing up, that was a big rival, man. We didn't like them. They didn't like us, all that type stuff. Then I actually got to hang out with some of the guys in college and realize they're pretty good dudes. You know what I mean? But
that's the way it always
that's
goes.
How it goes. But man, it's I tell you what, they got a good football team. It's a big rivalry. That is a tough place to go play. It was a tough place when I played in high school. It was a tough place back when I coached here as an assistant. It's going to be a tough place to go tomorrow night. They always play well over there. They always have a big crowd. It's kind of one of those in settings where it's just, man, it's high school football. It's kind of sometimes, and I'm sure they got good lighting, but it always seemed like it was kind of like murky lighting. And just,
yeah.
But and they were physical. I'm sure it's going to be everything I just said tomorrow night. We know we're going to have our hands full. It is exciting, though. I mean, these are why you coach, and this is why the kids play. These are the games they'll remember as a rivalry game with Stanhope.
No doubt. What do you, in your preparation this week with the players, and you nailed it, you don't have to motivate them for this game. If anything, you got to keep them, not pull them down either, but you got to keep them even.
That's right.
What kind of stuff are you talking to them about
because
this
you
week?
live with these guys. They're right next door. And a lot of these guys know each other, man. They know each other growing up playing youth leagues, or maybe they work together at McDonald's or something. I mean, these guys know each other. So it's one of those things you got to live with this. And man, even for me, my family connection. I think my daddy went to junior high over in Millbrook when he was coming up, and my brother lived in Millbrook for a while. My niece actually graduated from Stanhope. So, man, it's just when you got that close of a town to each other, you're going to have those connections, and I'm sure the players are the same way. So, you're just right. We don't have to get them motivated. They know who they're playing. So,
no doubt. And I liken it to the Iron Bowl a little bit. Obviously it's not on that fever of a pitch, but the idea of it doesn't matter who's the better team. It doesn't matter who has the better record in the Iron Bowl. You throw it all out the window. Anybody can win that game, and I feel it's the same way with the Prattville Stanhope game.
And here's the deal, though, and I'll say this. The kids, everything I just said, I'll never have to say to the kids. They already know those things.
Right.
And so to me, it's my job as a coach. I'm not going to make this moment any bigger than it is,
right,
because they know those things. Man, their older brothers played against Stanhope, and they know they got to live with it. So to me, it's me to make the game as normal as possible. That's the message of, hey, all that's great, but when that thing's kicked off, man, just go do your job. Do your job and try to keep this. Let the fans, let everybody else enjoy the rivalry. But right now, it's about Prattville football. Us doing our thing. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. But on the outside, it is a big rivalry, and we know that. So that's what I'm saying. I don't have to go bring attention to it.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed, and it may be a lot the same, but last week you kind of took us through game day from the morning of what's tomorrow shaping up to be. What's it looking
similar.
like?
We'll have prayer breakfast. I think we're having it at Trinity United Methodist Church. We'll do that in the morning. We will have another pep rally tomorrow because it is a Stanhope game. We'll do that. And then it's class, and then you'll go on. We have a pregame meal about 2:50, 2:55 tomorrow afternoon, and we're going to do our pregame routine, the walkthroughs, meetings. We'll get on the bus, and we'll get over there, and we're ready to go play. So, that's a normal routine. It's a build-up. So I tell our kids, man, we ain't got to be great to begin. We don't want to go play the game at 7 o'clock in the morning, but it's a constant build-up to 7 o'clock at night.
No doubt. Now, obviously, it's at Stanhope Elmore High School. There's going to be plenty of Stanhope Elmore fans there. What would you say to Prattville fans? Could you guys use them coming on over, making the short drive over to Millbrook tomorrow?
Man, we need to go match it. They're going to have a lot of people there. They had a big win last week too. Beat Chilton County pretty good. We had a big win. I'd imagine the environment's going to be pretty electric. We are fan base, and I know they will. We'll come over and support it, but we need a big crowd there. to cheer our boys on as well.
Yeah, I got to see a little bit of the highlights from Stanhope's game last week, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe the opening kickoff, young man took it on back to the house, and I think he was a sophomore, if I'm not mistaken.
I want to say he ran 2 back last
He
week.
did.
Dynamic,
He did. Opening
man.
kickoff
He's
and another one.
dynamic, and man, that's the thing. We didn't really talk about the actual team. Stanhope's got a really good football team.
Yeah.
They're just like our defensive front. Their defensive front is very dominant as well, man. Really, really good. Probably one of the best front four we'll see all year. Linebackers are physical kids. They got speed in the secondary. They play with an edge. They play with an attitude. That's going to be a battle. And then offensively, they got some playmakers. Quarterback is dynamic, athletic. He's a guy that you can't, man, if he gets a seam now, he's going to, and it's not going to be a first down, he's going to go score. And they got physical, tough offensive linemen. They got playmakers at wide receiver. It's going to be a battle. We know that. So, and we got to go play. We got to go execute.
Right.
We do.
Yeah, every man's got to do their job. That's one of the things I love from last week. You could watch the sideline. You spoke of the 2 quarterbacks going back and forth. As I saw some of the highlights, if Kyle made a big play, Trey was the first person over to see him. If Trey made a big play, Kyle was the first one to run over and hug his neck. And those guys love each other.
Oh, wait, and that's what
the whole team,
man. We want to. Hey, look, it's about us. It's about Prattville football. And understanding that, look, we all individually have something to gain, but understand that we're going to get there if we all work together. And that's what you really want them to understand. I've told them this. I said, guys, ultimately you can play for your school. You can play for your mom, your dad, your community, and you do. But ultimately they got to go play for one another.
Right.
I mean, y'all the ones that are in the locker room together. Y'all the ones on the practice field. Y'all put the long hours. Man, I want you to play for one another because some of you, this is your senior year, and you've been here for a while. You've grown up here. These are your friends. You'll never play football with this guy again, ever. And sometimes when you're in the moment, you don't realize that, hey, you're going to look back the rest of your life. And, man, I wish I one more time me and my buddy could go combo block somebody together or we could, man, whatever. So, and that's who you're playing for. You don't want to let that guy down.
Right.
And he don't want to let you down. That's what it's about.
I hear you. Well, that's great stuff. Well, we're going to step away for just a moment. Again, we want to thank you for joining us, those of you who are joining us on the Prattville Alive YouTube channel, many of you listening to us on Dixie Country 100.1. There's still time if you want to join us. Folks, we're at Los Mayas Restaurant here in Prattville right next to Winn-Dixie. If you're anywhere near, we'd invite you to come and join us as we enjoy some fantastic food and talk about some exciting football. We're going to take one more break. We'll be back in just a little bit on the Coach Caleb Ross Show. Well, welcome back, Lion fans. You're listening to the Coach Caleb Ross Show on 100.1 Dixie Country. Also, we want to welcome those of you who are joining us on the Prattville Alive YouTube channel, watching us live tonight or watching it later on YouTube as well. Thanks for being with us. Coach, we've been able to cover last week's game, covered this week's game. Something almost slipped the radar. There was another game since Friday night. What else has Prattville been involved with?
Yeah, our freshmen played Thompson, and technically it was a jamboree because the way we had to schedule it. But man, how about that? How about winning 35-20? How about our ninth grade coaching staff, which I know we're about to talk to our head coach of ninth grade here in a second. But man, outstanding job of those kids. Got a chance to get down there midway through the second quarter. Man, that group is going to be special.
Yeah.
And it is going to be a special. That is a very talented group of kids. That is a good group of kids. I got to be around them a lot in the spring when I went down and worked with them and working out down in junior high before they made the transition. And they're good boys. I mean, they're probably a little bit more mature for ninth graders than most ninth graders that come through. So, and a lot of good kids on that team, a lot of talented kids. How about a first big win? And Thompson's got a good program.
Yeah.
And I'm friends with Mark Freeman, the head football coach at Thompson, and he felt like, Coach, our freshman group's pretty good. And I said, well, ours is pretty good too. So,
That's why they play the game.
That's right. So, really proud of that. And, man, right now, Prattville football, we got numbers back up in the junior high. Freshman football numbers are up, doing well. How about Donnie Burdett and our junior high playing tonight? So, should be a big night. Hopefully they're doing well. Hope we get a good report from that tonight. So, really proud of that, and I know we're going to bring on our head freshman coach and let him talk a little bit about the game.
Yeah, fans, we want to welcome in the legendary freshman head coach, Danny Rye.
Legendary. I'm not buying no insurance.
Watch out now. We'll talk about that later after we get off the air.
Okay, we got you.
Yeah. Take us through Monday night's victory, man.
Well, I've been doing this a while. First time I've been the head coach, and the one thing I've learned is if you surround yourself by great coaches, they make you look good.
I hear you.
Coach Wendell Jackson and Coach Hicks are my two coordinators, and they do a fabulous job. And it's kind of nice just to walk out to practice and let's go get it. The ball game Monday night was interesting. We jumped out 14-0, and I'm like, hey, this is pretty good. Then the next thing you know, it's 14-14. I'm like, we may be in trouble. But I got 57 kids. They all work hard. And
57 ninth graders.
57 ninth graders. I had 58, but Coach Ross took one from me. Okay. I don't let him come down to practice much if I can get away with it because, it's bad.
Lose players.
Yes, sir. But it's kind of nice to just be in that environment, and Coach Ross coming in, when bringing in the guys he brought in, it's kind of jump-started everything. And
Sure.
It's kind of nice. But I've got great kids. They work hard. They work hard in the weight room. Coach Shook gives us a workout, and we try to work out 3 times a week now that we're in season. And if you surround yourself by good people, good things happen.
I hear you.
And if you got good Jimmys and Joes, hey, you're a pretty good coach.
There you go. Tell who stood out for you on the field.
I thought our quarterback played well. He didn't go through the summer with us. He came back after summer. I thought our O-line and D-line played very well. We're 7 or 8 deep in the defensive line.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're three deep in O-line. So, but it's kind of nice to pitch that ball to number 4 and watch him go.
Yeah.
Taggart's special.
Yeah.
But wide receivers played well. They all played well. They got tired, and they just sucked it up, and it's kind of nice.
I've been watching I have the privilege, I do the PA for the junior high game, so I've watched them the last couple of years as they come up, and there's some special kids on there. I'm really excited to see, like you said, Albert Taggart. He hits a hole like I haven't seen people hit before with such force.
What was interesting was watching him in the fourth quarter, and we're on like our 15-yard line, and we pitch it to him, and he goes like 78 yards, and they're trying to tackle him, and they are bouncing off of him.
Yeah, he gets stronger. He doesn't slow down.
Right. Just feed him. Just feed the beast. Feed the beast. And I want to brag on our kicking game. Elliot Duke does a great job kicking for us. He does. Monday night, he handled everything for us, the punting, the extra points, and if we'd had a field goal, we'd have done that. So it's kind of nice. That's part of the game, that you have to worry about, but you don't have to worry about because you watch him in practice, and he's always either kicking off or he's kicking the ball in barrels or he's doing what you ask him to do, and that's kind of nice to do.
That's awesome. Anything else that you want to share from the victory Monday night? Any thank yous you need to put out?
Thank you for everybody that came out, and next time we'll have a concession stand.
There you go. There you go. Well, fantastic. Well, Coach, we've got just a couple more minutes left of the show. Coach Ross, I think we have enough time to do that. I want to throw a question out to you because Coach Rye brought up something really interesting, and I think you touched on it too, your involvement with the junior high. How much of your fingerprints do you want on the junior high program? And I know it's a growing process, but
Sure.
what's your plan there?
Well, I mean, to me, if you're going to build a program, you've got to be involved on your junior high and in your youth leagues. You know, there's things that we did when I got here this spring. I was going to get over there once, twice a week to the junior high. We was going to be with those kids, with those 8th graders. Got to spend a lot of time with them this spring. Got to spend a little bit of time with our 7th graders that are now the 8th graders. That was key because I knew once our varsity season got started, I won't be able to get over there as much as possible. But I'll get to see them play when they play at home, and I'll make a couple of their road games. But to me, if we're going to build a program, we've got to be involved down there. Same with the youth leagues. This summer, we both invited, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, both the YMCA coaches one night and then the youth line coaches up and did like a mini coaching clinic just to build relationships with those guys. We did a coaching camp, a youth football camp at the YMCA. That way those kids know who the varsity coaches are. That way they want to grow up. They want to play at Prattville. And if we can, any type of knowledge that we have, resources that we may have, if we can put that down to our junior high or to our youth leagues, football is going to be that much better at Prattville. And to me, that's how you build it. You build it from the bottom up. And that is the goal. That is the ultimate goal. And I look forward to spending more time with those kids.
Yeah, there's a guy that people around here know named Bill Clark. I think he did something like that several years ago, and he had a little bit of success. So
that's right. Yeah. And a lot of people use that blueprint now. Same thing we did at McGill, and we were involved with our CYO. And that's what we do, and that's what you got to do if you want to keep maintaining a program.
Fantastic. Well, Coach Ross, thank you for joining us again tonight for week 2 of the Coach Caleb Ross Show. Coach Rye, Danny Rye, thank you for being with us, and congratulations on a big W this week. And look forward to progression out of our athletes at all levels. And thank you guys for the investment you make there. Fans, we've told you already that the details. The Prattville Lions are going to be at Stanhope Elmore High School in Millbrook tomorrow night. Kickoff's going to be at 7 o'clock. We want to invite you to come over. We would love to see those visitor stands absolutely full, cheering on the Lions in what's going to be a fantastic game, a rivalry game. We would love to invite you out. Fans, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the, if you're listening to us through the Prattville Alive YouTube channel or Dixie Country 100.1, we're going to turn it over to Hey Coach in just a moment. Thank you again for listening to the Coach Caleb Ross Show.